You've seen them everywhere, right? All over your social media feeds. What type of genius are you? Can you solve this puzzle that only 1% of people can? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on these viral IQ tests and figure out what's really going on behind that click.
And here it is, the classic hook. Only 9% can pass this IQ test. Can you? I mean, that's a direct challenge, isn't it? It taps right into that competitive part of our brain. The message is so simple. You could be part of this exclusive, super intelligent elite. All you have to do is click and find out. Who can resist that?
But hang on a second, let's just pause right there. What if the real test isn't about the puzzles inside the quiz? What if the headline itself is the actual test, A little test of our critical thinking before we even click play.
So let's do that. Let's decode the clickbait. We're going to break down the mechanics that make these headlines so hard to ignore.
Okay, so the first step is just to ask a few really simple questions. When you look at that headline, what does pass even mean? Real IQ tests don't have a pass-fail grade. And who made this thing? Some random website? And who on earth is this mysterious 9%? The more you poke at it, the more you realize the language is completely vague, and that's on purpose.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got your online quiz. Its whole purpose, entertainment. It's made by who knows, and the scoring is totally arbitrary, just to give you a vague label like creative genius. But then, on the other side, you have a clinical IQ test. The purpose there is serious assessment. It's designed by actual psychologists. And the result isn't a label, it's a detailed, standardized report. We're talking about two completely different things here.
So now that we're clear on what these quizzes aren't, let's take a quick look at the science behind what a real IQ test actually is.
Okay, so at its core, an intelligence quotient, or IQ, is pretty straightforward. It's a standardized score. It's a number that comes from a very specific set of tests built to measure certain cognitive abilities. And the key word here, the one that changes everything, is standardized. That's what gives the number all of its meaning. And that standardization is all built around this one number, 100. Now, in real IQ testing, 100 isn't a good score or a perfect score. No. It's just defined as the statistical average for the population. The entire scale is built out from that central point. So it's not about passing or failing. It's about where you are in relation to everybody else.
And getting to that score is, well, it's a really rigorous process. First, the test is standardized by giving it to a huge representative sample of people. Second, it has to be administered by a trained professional in a totally controlled environment so the results are valid. And finally, those results are analyzed based on very well-established norms. This is a world away from tapping answers on your phone while you're waiting for the bus, right?
Which brings us to the million-dollar question. If these quizzes are just silly entertainment, why are they so powerful? Why do we find them so incredibly hard to resist? Well, the answer, it turns out, is all about psychology. A huge part of this is something called the Barnum effect. This is our natural human tendency to read a vague, general description and feel like it's talking specifically about us. So when a quiz tells you, you're a creative problem solver with a keen eye for detail, you think, wow, that's totally me, even though it could apply to pretty much anyone. But it's so much more than just the Barnum effect. These quizzes are designed to hit all of our psychological buttons at once. We click because, deep down, we want validation. We like the idea of a simple label. We're just wired for competition. Of course, we want to know if we're in that top 9%. And sometimes, hey, it's just the fun of solving a puzzle, or plain old curiosity. It's a perfect storm.
So, where does all this leave us? After decoding the clickbait and getting a peek at the real science, it's time to step back and find a smarter perspective on the whole thing.
And this right here is probably the most important takeaway of all. Intelligence isn't a score you get from a 10-question quiz. It's not one single thing. It's this huge, complex spectrum of abilities. Emotional intelligence, creativity, practical skills, you name it. A single number could never, ever capture all of that. So the next time you see one of those headlines, maybe the best answer isn't to click, but to ask yourself this question instead. Creativity, empathy, resilience, wisdom. How do you measure what truly makes you and the people you care about smart? Now that's a question that is way more interesting than any online quiz could ever be.